50 years, I guess it does go fast sometimes, but you guys were in town a couple of weeks ago, remembering the 50-year anniversary. It's pretty special. It's really special. And when you think about this great city of champions that we live in, there has not been a championship that has been won in Pittsburgh by a Pittsburgh team since the Pippers did it in 1968. We know the Penguins have won many championships, the Steelers have won many championships, and the Pirates have won championships. They've done them on the road since 1968. Mazeroski obviously hit the home run and won the game in Pittsburgh, but in that game in 1968, when the Pippers beat New Orleans, that was the last home championship that's happened to this great city of champions. It's really hard to believe with all the championships. So congratulations to all. I was an 8-year-old boy living in Friendship when that team won. I was unfortunately not at that game. I wish I'd have been one of those 11,000 people at that game. Probably a lot of people claimed they were at that game, right? That said they were there. And I spent my youth playing at Mellon Park baseball, which is the Connie Hawkins League where they played. And I remember Connie being there in the summers when they had our Little League game. So unfortunately, Mr. Hawkins, who such a legend and such a great player, passed away a year ago. So anyway, I'm going to have Bill come up here and go through all this and do the official proclamation, and we'll take a picture with everybody. Just appreciate what this team has done and part of the great history of Pittsburgh, and not just sports history, but really the entire history of what this meant. Things that aren't there anymore, like the Civic Arena, et cetera. But let me do this. Whereas the Mark Cuban Foundation, Arthur Mark Whited, Achieving Greatness Inc. celebrated late Hall of Famer Connie Hawkins in the 50th anniversary of the Pittsburgh Pippers American Basketball Association World Championship on May 4th and May 4th and 5th, 2018 in Allegheny County. And whereas on May 4th, 1968, the Pippers won the first and only professional basketball title in Pittsburgh sports history. The members of that team were Craig Dill, Calvin Graham, Ira Harge, Connie Hawkins, Art Heyman, Bob Hodgson, Jim Jarvis, Arvesta Kelly, Tom Kerwin, Barry Leibowitz, Bill Meyer, Richard Parks, Willie Porter, John Postley, Herschel Turner, Steve Vicendic, Chico Vaughn, Trooper Washington, Dexter Westbrook, Charlie Williams, and Leroy Wright. They were led by 1967-68 ABA Coach of the Year Vince Gazzetta. And whereas the Pippers finished the 1967-68 regular season with a 54-24 record, best in the Eastern Division, they staved off elimination against the New Orleans Buccaneers in Game 6 of the ABA Finals, thanks in part to Hawkins' 41 points and 12 rebounds. In Game 7, Williams scored a game-high 35 points as the Pippers claimed a 122-113 victory in the league title in front of 11,000 fans at Pittsburgh Civic Arena. Whereas Hawkins led the ABA in scoring and was named the league's most valuable player that season. He later went on to play in the National Basketball Association for the Phoenix Suns, Los Angeles Lakers, and Atlanta Hawks, and was an All-Star from 1970 to 73. His number 42 jersey was retired by the Suns, and he was inducted into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame in 1992. Whereas for the first time since 1968, those champion Pippers reunited earlier this month in Allegheny County to honor Hawkins, who died in 2017, and the Pippers' tremendous legacy. Among those saluting their accomplishments were former Pitt and pro basketball player Billy Knight, former Lakers player Ron Carter, and former Duquesne Star and Boston Celtics player B.B. Flannery. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Allegheny County Executive Rich Fitzgerald, by the authority vested in me, do hereby congratulate the Pittsburgh Pippers on the 50th anniversary of their ABA title and thank them for helping to make Pittsburgh the city of champions that it is today. I just want to congratulate all of you and give us a bill. You want to say a few words? Or I don't know if anybody wants, the trainers, kids, the Hall of Famers, or anybody, or maybe the author might want to. He's got a lot to say, I guess.
Let me begin by inviting Mark Whited to join me here. It is through the effort of the initiative of Major Mark Whited, who has served our country as well, retired Marine. Well, no, once a Marine, always a Marine. Major Mark Whited, who initiated this process and contacted me following Connie's death. And once we put our heads together, we were able to put together a very historic event. We also have to thank Mark Cuban. Certainly, many of you already know that Chief Executive Rich Fitzgerald partners with us on many events, and we owe him a great deal of gratitude as well. But more specifically, Highmark and UPMC. But because of Mark Cuban, we were able to complete an almost insurmountable task. And a capacity crowd came together several weeks ago to remember the legendary Connie Hawkins, Hall of Famer, and one of the 50 greatest players of all time, as well as saluting some of the gentlemen that we have here today who are Connie Hawkins League Hall of Famers. And the combination of those two events brought together 300 plus people to memorialize and remember Connie Hawkins, and due to the tremendous effort of Mark Whited, brought in the remaining Pittsburgh Pippers, who were part of that 1968 World Championship team, who in fact were led by Connie Hawkins as MVP and leading scorer. And to a man, when we met with them, they all agreed that in that year, at that time, they could have beaten any other team in the world. So we greatly appreciate being here, appreciate this opportunity, and would love to have the Major say a few words.
Thank you, Bill, and thank you, Mr. Fitzgerald. This really was a team effort. You know, I set out in 2013 to write a book about this team that nobody's ever written a book about, and it turned out to be a special adventure when I started interviewing all these guys. And I knew to attract the attention of a publisher, that's what I need to do. I need to go around the country and talk to every single one of them. And it was in the course of doing that I thought, my goodness, these guys, you know, we love our championship teams there, right? But nobody's ever recognized or honored them, not even gotten together. Some of them, you know, celebrated, poured champagne over their heads that night and never saw each other again. So I was actually sitting watching the Pirates at Camden Yards last summer, and I was texting with Bill Meyer. He was the first gentleman I interviewed a long time ago with Panther, by the way. And I said, Bill, you know, you guys never had a reunion, and what do you think? And he said, yeah, it's great. And then okay, well, what next? What, get these guys flying in and meet in the corner of Denny's? I don't know. And so in November, a couple things came together. One, I had a brilliant thought. Gee, Mark Cuban is from Pittsburgh, you know, he's an NBA team at my age. Good chance maybe he was a Piper fan. And sent him an email, and my goodness, he answered me back. Well, at the same time, I had been in Phoenix, and I was talking to the receptionist about, you know, I was just hoping to meet somebody who could talk about Connie, because he had just passed away, unfortunately. I was in Phoenix actually to talk to him. He passed away before I could get there. And almost under her breath, one of the receptionists uttered his name and said, this guy, Bill Neal, keeps calling from Pittsburgh. So I went downstairs, got my handheld Google machine out real quick, and Googled him, and saw that he ran this league and knew Connie. And so the next thing you know, I'm talking to him, and it was kind of funny. It's really within the same hour that I got an email from Mark Cuban and a phone call from Bill. And off we went. And Bill and I, it was a jungle operation, because it was just me and him at first, you know, and then we got the help of Vince. We got the help of Cal, one of the players. And Shelby put our website together. I missing somebody? Okay. Anyway, well, that's all I want to say. Thanks for everybody coming. It was a great event. Couldn't have done it without this team. And thank you for the proclamation.
Yeah, it was a busy weekend too. Yeah, thank you. The current attendant of the hockey arena or basketball arena was playing that weekend. It was marathon weekend. It was a busy weekend. The 50th anniversary. And when you think about the history, that almost immediately after they won the championship, they moved to Minnesota, and then came back a year later as the Condors. as we probably remember. And obviously the ABA then merged in, and some of the teams became part of the NBA, but it was a special time, and I think it's something really that needs to be remembered. The other thing, I guess, that is special about Connie Hawkins is he didn't grow up here. He was from Brooklyn, from, I think, Bedford-Stuyvesant, if I remember. I remember reading the book Foul when I was a kid. But then when he came to Pittsburgh and he played in all these other cities, Pittsburgh really, he embraced what we have, which is so much about what Pittsburgh's about. Once people get here, they kind of fall in love with the place and continue to stay. So anyway, I don't know if anybody else had anything, any other recollections they wanted to recall?
Well, I'd like Vince to come up and present you with a shirt that we brought for you. If you would
wow.
do the honors, Vince. We have a Pittsburgh Piper shirt for you that I can now see will be a little large. We'll get you, I remember you being bigger.
I was.
He's much larger on TV.
You can grow into this shirt.
Yeah, very nice.
All right.
Gentlemen on the side of the podium, please.
Okay.
Do that on the side of the
Okay,
podium. Right there, perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Dane, any recollections as the trader's kid who was there?
I really would
Oh, you're
recommend.
not, I'm sorry.
No, that's Dane, but
Oh,
I would
okay.
recommend you limit his speaking time.
Okay.
He does have a few stories that are very entertaining.
Okay, can we just do a picture because the TV guys got to go. Let's get everybody up here.
I'm just gonna, but I gotta.
You know how news goes, there must be something.
Wait.
Picture, picture, picture.
Picture first.
Yeah, this is important.